Coach T, are you kidding me? DK Metcalf on one side, GP on the other?
They should have never let this happen. Here's a chart of some of the best receivers in football that have committed an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty from the year 2022 and beyond. And they are listed from least amount of unsportsmanlike conduct penalties committed to the most. Now, throughout this time, obviously, players have racked up a good amount of unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. And I mean, it's been 3 years basically. And as you can see, there are Pro Bowl players, All-Pro players, and very good receivers. All have committed an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty here and there throughout the last couple of years. And then there's DK Metcalf and George Pickens, who have a total of 19 combined unsportsmanlike conduct penalties in the last 3 seasons. And now they are teammates. The NFL has 2 crash outs on the loose, and they just happen to be on the same team now. As a lot of you guys know, Berges is in fact a Steeler fan. And in my lifetime as a Steeler fan, I've seen some pretty good receivers come through Pittsburgh. I've been pretty blessed considering what other fans have gone through in terms of receivers. I got to watch guys like Hines Ward, possible future Hall of Famer that played 14 seasons with the Steelers. Antonio Holmes with the greatest / clutchest Super Bowl catch in NFL history. Mike Wallace, who Big Ben I think said was the fastest player he's ever played with. Antonio Brown, who most likely statistically is the greatest wide receiver in Steelers franchise history, and every time Ben threw it to him, I literally thought he was going to catch it. I always compared it to Steph Curry shooting a 3. Every time Curry shoots a 3, you think it's going in. That's how I felt with Ben throwing a deep ball to AB. Juju Smith-Schuster, who ironically, Steeler fans probably don't remember him for his receiver play, but for his block.
Bell got a big block from Smith-Schuster, flattened perfect, and here come flags.
And now in the year 2025, we get to see George Pickens and DK Metcalf on the same team. And to be honest, I was shocked when the Steelers traded for him. Because for one, the Steelers really don't trade for big-time players, let alone big-time receivers. Yeah. I'm saying if the Steelers can just get another receiver, I feel like Pickens could easily be a top 5 to 10 receiver. He just needs another guy. Like now that Devontae went to the Rams, that rules him out for coming to the Steelers. I don't know who else they would try and get.
Hold that thought, I'm gonna call you back.
Oh, Lord.
And 2, the Steelers weren't really a destination for DK at first from what he said. Supposedly, DK wanted to play somewhere warm, where the team had a quarterback, and it was in win-now mode. And as of right now, the Steelers really don't check any of those boxes. Teams like the Chargers, Texans, Rams maybe fit the mold, but Steelers? I don't know. But money does talk, and DK signed a new 5-year, $150 million deal with the Steelers, the largest deal in Pittsburgh Steelers history. But I do think this trade works out well for all parties involved. Steelers finally get another high-quality receiver, DK gets paid, and a rebuilding Seahawks team gets a second-round pick. Steelers may not be in win-now mode, but adding DK Metcalf to a receiver room that already has an up-and-coming George Pickens, it might just put them in that category. But how good will this duo actually be? We've seen tons of wide receivers blossom into bigger and better stars once they get a true wide receiver 2 next to them. And it's not just them out there, and vice versa. We've seen wide receiver stocks plummet when their wide receiver 1/2 gets taken away from them. Duos like Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne, Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt, Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens, Chris Carter and Randy Moss, and a ton more. Once you add an elite playmaker on the other side of the field, it's harder for defenses to draw up schemes to stop both of you, especially if it's hard to stop only one of you. But we've also seen players digress a little bit once their wide receiver 1/2 leaves. Like when AB left the Steelers and Juju went from a potential Pro Bowler to just another receiver, or when Stephon Diggs left Adam Thielen, it's hard to produce those same numbers when your star receiver is leaving you. But this situation with GP and DK is a little unique, because GP basically came into the league as a number 1 receiver, and having a terrible OC with continuous QB changes. DK also came in the NFL as a number 1 receiver, but having a steady offense and quarterback through his first couple of years, putting up 3 1,000+ yard seasons out of 6 seasons. Now DK is getting traded to a team with a young and upcoming offense, who already technically has a number 1, with a Hall of Fame quarterback and another year year of the same OC coming back. Remember how I said once you had an elite playmaker on the other side of the field, it's harder for defenses to draw up schemes to stop both of you? Well, imagine that other elite playmaker is DK Metcalf. Two receivers that are both over 6'3" and both over 200 pounds. Wide receivers that can go get deep balls, contested balls, and even double coverage balls. The problem is for defenses, they won't be able to double cover one of them because that will leave the other one one-on-one. You're gonna have to pick your poison. We could potentially be seeing two breakout years from both George Pickens and DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf's best year so far came in 2020, where he had 83 catches, 1,303 yards, and 10 touchdowns. That also happened to be Tyler Lockett's best year as well. Seattle's number 2 at the time, having 100 catches, 1,054 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Now imagine that wide receiver 2 being George Pickens.
So do you like being called NFL young boy?
I am the young boy of the NFL.
Pickens' best season so far came in 2023, where he played all 17 games, having 63 catches, 1,140 yards, and 5 touchdowns, where he had no true number 1 next to him. He basically was the number 1 receiver. Now, he has 2-time Pro Bowler DK Metcalf next to him. By just doing some Berge math, I predict that GP will exceed his best year so far in this upcoming season, having 20 more catches, 200 more yards, and 5 more touchdowns. Comparing that to what some argue is the best receiver duo of all time, Randy Moss and Chris Carter's best year together, which was 2000, Pickens would have Carter beat in yards and touchdowns. DK and GP can not just be a good duo, but they can be an historically good duo. But there's just a couple problems. Very quick, if you want to see behind the scenes footage of how I create these videos, click the join button on the screen right here. Thank you, and back to the video. There's a reason DK and GP have already been nicknamed the Crash Out Duo. Since both of them have come to the league, both of them have been in numerous fights, scuffles, altercations, you name it, they've probably been in it. Just this past year, GP wore a nose tape with the writing, "Open always" on it. He later got fined, I think he was confused why he got fined. 2 seasons ago, DK Metcalf absolutely ragdolled all-pro linebacker Fred Warner and then grabbed him by the face mask and stared him dead in his eyes. Since coming to the league in 2022, George Pickens has had a total of 10 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, and that's not including fines, just on the field flags. And I mean, even when he got drafted, he was already locked in. And since DK Metcalf has come to the NFL, he's had a total of 17 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, and again, not including fines. No one can knock the talent that both these receivers have. The problem is they usually get into a couple altercations a game. And now with them both being on the same team and both being on the field together, and on top of that, playing in the AFC North, Steeler games just got a lot more interesting. But unfortunately, we might even get to see it. The Steelers traded away their 2nd-round pick for DK, which we know. Many thought the Steelers were going to use that pick to get a receiver through the draft this year to help George Pickens out. And with that idea being thrown out the window after the Steelers got DK, people are starting to speculate whether GP is the next one to get traded. With GP about to be on his final year of his contract, and the Steelers already giving the bag to DK for 5 years, the Steelers aren't going to be able to pay both receivers as number 1 receivers. They're not the Bengals. For a lot of teams, GP is already a number 1 receiver, and especially if he does play this year and balls out, he'll be a number 1 receiver basically to almost every team, and most likely will walk in free agency because he'll get paid way more somewhere else. He could possibly get franchise tagged, but I don't know. We'll see. Unfortunately, I think the Steelers are already thinking about trading him, and are quietly talking to teams around the league to shop GP so they can get some value out of him before it's too late. And depending on what picks or pick they get for GP, draft a receiver in this year's draft. Steelers actually have been historically pretty good at drafting receivers. That's also why the DK trade is a little shocking. If the Steelers trade GP, they most likely will find a cheaper and still pretty good replacement for DK's number 2. But with that being said, I do not want this to happen. After years of waiting for an actual number 1 receiver, and the Steelers now have 2 number 1 receivers, I need to see how this plays out. I need to see how good this duo can be. I need to see how menacing this duo can be. What would likely be the most entertaining Steelers season in a minute, I need to see it. Just give me at least 1 year. And hey, who knows? Maybe it'll all work out and they could keep both of them. Probably not, but hey, you never know. They cannot just show us this duo and then take it away from Steeler and NFL fans. I need it. We need it. So what do you guys think? Will GP and DK ever get to play together? And if they do, how will they do? Can they really excel together? Or will they just be kicked out of every game, basically? Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments below. But if they do play together, and and they do stay in games, watch out, because we might see them in the Super Bowl.